We have breaking news right now. A federal judge just ruled that the Trump administration and Donald Trump defied a lawful court order to pay out SNAP benefits to 42 million Americans by November 5th. Judge John McConnell in Rhode Island just issued a scathing decision after a court hearing in which the Trump administration was under fire from the beginning. Judge McConnell sharply rebuked the Trump administration for what he says defied his order to pay out full SNAP benefits by November 5th, by yesterday. Well, Donald Trump and his administration did not do it. And he is now ordering the Trump administration to pay full benefits to the states by tomorrow. And here's the kicker. McConnell cited Donald Trump's Truth Social post from earlier this week as an admission. He says that it's essentially an admission of his intent to defy the court order when he said SNAP payments will be given only when the government opens. As a result, people will go hungry, food pantries will be burdened, and suffering will occur. McConnell went on to say it's likely that SNAP recipients are hungry as we sit here. He says that Donald Trump and the Trump allies have admitted to withholding SNAP for, quote, political reasons rather than to preserve child nutrition programs, which the judge says was simply a pretext. A major decision from Judge McConnell, and it comes literally just days after the Trump administration said it would be paying out partial SNAP benefits. And 2 days after Donald Trump himself said, we're not going to do SNAP benefits. So there was a lot of mixed messaging coming out of this White House. So remember, previously on October 31st, on Halloween, Judge McConnell said, Trump, you have to pay out SNAP benefits. There's no excuse for not paying out SNAP benefits. That was the court order. It was a lawful court order. And well, in response to that, the Trump administration says, you know what? Okay, we'll start paying out partial SNAP benefits. We could only pay out partial, not full. Not full. Okay, fine, no problem. But that was not enough, right? Because then just a day later, Donald Trump says, no, you know what? We're not paying out SNAP benefits. We're not going to pay you SNAP benefits until the government shutdown ends, until the government reopens. And that's significant, folks, because that would be defying a lawful court order. Now, here's the kicker. Tomorrow, the Trump administration will now have to pay out all SNAP benefits. The judge declined to grant a stay for the Trump administration. Donald Trump and his team desperately sought a stay of the decision, hoping and praying that they could just simply appeal it to the First Circuit Court of Appeals. And hey, the judge said no. You have to pay out SNAP benefits and you have to do it tomorrow. Now, if they don't do it tomorrow, here's what's going to happen next. I want you to know this, because what's going to happen next is contempt proceedings will begin. Contempt proceedings will begin against any official within the Trump administration, potentially Donald Trump himself, if they do not pay out SNAP benefits tomorrow. Remember, there is this contingency fund, it's about $4.8 billion or so of money, pot of money that Congress lawfully appropriated to give to the situations like this if there is an emergency. And right now there is an emergency. SNAP benefits for 42 million Americans ran out at the beginning of November. Many of these people rely on SNAP benefits to literally survive. And well, so there's a valid emergency, And despite that, the Trump administration is saying, you know what? No, we're not going to pay it out. We're not going to do it. And well, a judge says, you got to do it. You got to do it. And that's not the only court loss that the Trump administration suffered today. Because if you recall, remember the guy who threw the Subway sandwich at a law enforcement officer or at National Guard members? Yeah, well, here's what happened. A jury today said, you know what? Not guilty. You're not guilty of misdemeanor charges regarding assaulting a law enforcement officer. So Trump administration was rebuked twice. First, rebuked because of essentially judge saying you defied a court order. Second, a jury in Washington, D.C. said not guilty to the Subway sandwich thrower. I do want to read you a statement from U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro. As always, we accept a jury's verdict. That is the system within which we function. However, law enforcement should never be subjected to assault, no matter how minor. Even children know when they are angry, they are not allowed to throw objects at one another. But if you recall, when the when this guy was arrested after throwing this sandwich, no one ever disputed that he threw the sandwich. He threw the sandwich at the law enforcement officer. He was arrested, and they paraded him out with like a dozen federal agents. Like it really seemed like he was this like bad terrorist. That's kind of what it seemed like. That's how they arrested him. They literally came in to his house at midnight and like pulled him out and arrested him. Made a whole big scene, made a whole big spectacle. They tried to indict him on felony charges. They failed. They couldn't do it. A grand jury wouldn't essentially issue felony related charges. Okay? So that happened. And then now, just a couple months later, not guilty. Not guilty. Sandwich guy, not guilty. And so we're in a situation where the Trump administration is just not having a good day in the courts. And I would predict that it's only going to get worse. Maybe not today, but you know how the Supreme Court's considering this tariffs case right now? Yeah, well, I actually think if I had to predict, I predict that the Supreme Court is going to gut Donald Trump's tariffs and he's not going to be allowed to impose tariffs on countries across the globe. That's my prediction. Although we'll have to see what happens. I am not 100% sure on that case because that won't be decided until later in June. So, quick recap. Donald Trump has to pay out all SNAP benefits by tomorrow. No ifs, ands, or buts. And if he doesn't do it, he's going to face contempt proceedings by Judge McConnell in Rhode Island. A jury found the sandwich dude not guilty. So he should have not prosecuted him. They said, you know what? Sandwich dude who threw the sandwich at National Guard, not guilty. And yeah, so a bad day for the Trump administration. It comes during Donald Trump's rebrand. He's trying to be focused on affordability again. His advisors are saying that that's going to be his shift. He's going to now only talk about affordability and the cost of living heading into 2026, even though he ran a campaign on affordability and on the cost of living, saying that he would bring down the cost of living in the United States of America. And clearly he just hasn't been able to do it. So tried to do that, but now he's going to shift tones and focus on affordability again. So yeah, that's it right now. I do have a question for you guys watching. What do you want to see from me other than these kind of breaking news bits? Is there anything else I can give you that I haven't given you? I've been on Capitol Hill all day today, or most of the day, with Yasemin Ansari, Congresswoman. Stood outside of Mike Johnson's office demanding a meeting. Didn't work. Johnson was nowhere to be found. So we'll see what happens next. I will bring you more live and on the ground coverage throughout the night and into the morning. So spread the word. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to support my work. And I will see you probably again this evening, but if not, bright and early for another update. So stay tuned and I'll see you soon.